obstruct the Daleks. Finish the projects or you will be exterminated.
Hey everyone, it's Ravenhawk6910 reporting once again. It's mid-June 2014 and it's time for another layout blog video. So there's really not too much to report on the layout in this month's blog. There really hasn't been any major changes that are worth noting. But there are a few things to talk about, and the first thing I'm going to talk to you about here is this Chicago and Northwestern C44-9W. This is a Kato-9, really good model, has a lot of good weight to it and some good details to it, as you can see. This just came in the other day, and what I'm going to do with this, you notice it's missing a number on the side there, and the number boards are blank. My plan is I'm going to renumber this engine to 8646, which, for those of you that don't know the story, the 8646 and the 8701 are the last two Chicago and Northwestern -9s still in full CNNW colors. They haven't been patched for the Union Pacific, and they have not been repainted or given any kind of UP specs of any sort. I believe the only exception to that is the 8701's air conditioner, which is yellow and it's off of a UP unit, but that's it. There hasn't been any other changes to it. And they actually do plan to keep them that way, from what I've heard. So I came across this unit and I decided to make the 8646, and I'm already a fan of Kato engines. They're just extremely good pullers. As you can see there in that video, it's pulling that entire train and one dummy locomotive, and it's performing just flawlessly. So that's something to look out for next month. I've got some decals laying around here to do it. I just need to find them, and once I do that, I'll be able to renumber this thing and get it into service. So this will actually be my only -9 in service at the moment, because the other ones are still on the workbench. However, it will be pretty cool, and I will get this thing paired up with my UP4141 SD70 ACE and run them together most of the time, since they're my only Union Pacific locomotives. So be on the lookout for that, and I will make a video of both of those running together once I get this one completely finished. But I did want to show this one running to you guys quickly. I do really like these Kato locomotives. I think they're just great. The old runs, that is. The only other new piece of rolling stock to come in this month is this Athearn Blue Box American Car and Foundry covered hopper. And as you can see, this was a Santa Fe one, but I patched out the logos and the numbers there. And what I'm going to do, you might have noticed in that video at the beginning, there were a lot of grain hoppers on that train which had their original names removed and their reported markings X'd out. What I'm doing is I'm re-numbering and re-decaling these for the Georgia Northern, which is my own personal railroad. Pretty much the story that I've come up with for the Georgia Northern is that they are a grain road that does interchange traffic with the NS. And so, naturally, being a short line railroad, they wouldn't buy brand new hoppers like the Trinities and the ones you see today. They would buy used cars. So that's exactly what I've done here. So I've patched this one over, and I'm going to keep on looking for some American Car and Foundry hoppers because these are particular favorites of mine. And just over time I'll acquire them and patch them over. I don't have the right decals to renumber them to the way I want right now, but I will get those eventually. And when I build my next layout, whenever that'll be, the Georgia Northern will actually play a role in interchanging with the Norfolk Southern. So that will be pretty cool and kind of nice to get something to motivate you for the future, which I always like doing that. So that's really it in terms of new products that have come in and stuff on the layout. There really just hasn't been too much to report lately in terms of layout progress. I'm just really having a good time running the trains out here, and pretty much that's how it's going to be for a while anyways. So let's head on over to the workbench and I'll show you guys what projects are being worked on over there at the moment. So here we are over at the workbench, and the first thing I want to show you guys are these new positive train control antenna boxes that I've just installed on the 9294. These are 3D printed parts which are available through eBay, and you can get them two ways. You can either get them unpainted like this, or you can get them completely finished with the I-ring lifters installed, but I think they're like $4 more to get them that way. Anyways, these are made by a friend of mine. He's actually the same guy who designed the 3D Shapeways NS Admiral and Crescent cabs that you can find on Shapeways. And these are pretty cool parts. They make a really good addition to any locomotive you put them on. So I got two of them. I got two of these, got both of the NS versions. So I got the first one and put them on the 9294. And then I put my second one on my Erie Lackawanna SD45-2. So those are installed, and I just hit them with a little bit of gray, and I'll go in and touch up the antennas themselves on a later date. But these are pretty nice. When I get some more money, I will most likely be getting more of these, but those I will probably get the fully painted versions, so that way they'll be just ready to go ahead and install on the locomotives. But these are pretty cool, and I will put a link in the description to these, to his eBay page, and you guys can check them out and get some of these for yourself. They really are good pieces to have if you're doing a modern locomotive. And he doesn't have just Norfolk Southern either. He also has Union Pacific versions of these as well. He has both versions of those for that road. And while we're on the subject of 3D printing, here is a Norfolk Southern C40-8.5 that I'm working on. This started out as a Bachmann Spectrum C40-8, and I've completely removed the old cab except for the battery box section. And I've also added a few things like the horn and this air conditioner, which actually came off of my British Columbia Railway -9 that I'm still working on, which I'll get to that in a minute. And this one's going to get a Shapeways cab and installed on here. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, the C40-8.5 is a designation that the Norfolk Southern is giving to their C40-8s that they're rebuilding at their shops in Roanoke, Virginia. Two of them, as far as I know, are getting crescent cabs like the ones you see on the SD60Es. I don't know if any of the other ones are getting that. I've seen a couple of others that are being built and they have standard GE cabs, but I guess time will tell. None of them are actually in service yet, so this is just going to get finished up and then wait until one of them actually gets out on the road before I actually paint it. But most likely this one will be the 8500, which is the class unit, which they're making out of a Conrail C40-8, which I believe was numbered NS 8305 at one point. And while we're on the subject of Dash 8s, here's another C40-8 Bachmann Spectrum that I'm repainting. This one's getting the Norfolk Southern horsehead paint scheme, and I believe I will number this one 8797. And I've already got some extra detail parts installed, like the air conditioner, the windshield wipers, and I might replace the rear grab irons on the back, but we'll just have to see. But this one's going to get the horsehead paint scheme and just give a modern representation of a C40-8 to the fleet. So as soon as I get some more paint in, I will be able to get this thing finished. So after having had this thing sit on the workbench since about February, it's finally got an identity. So this SD40-2 is number 6160, which is an ex-Norfolk and Western SD40-2. This one's just going to get the regular NS paint scheme, the old one without the horse head. And so I don't have the decals for the regular paint scheme right now, but as soon as I get that, I will finish this up. I've already got the handrails and the front handrails installed. I need to get the side handrails installed, and then I need to get all the labeling and stuff finished on it. But this one's almost ready for service. But like I said, I'm not quite sure when I'll get those other decals in. Hopefully soon. I actually had the decals on this particular side installed, but then I realized I put them on a little crooked. So I took them off and just repainted the area a little bit to fix it up. So until I get the other set, this one's still going to be on the workbench. But, you know, one step closer, and at least it has an identity at this point. Here's my British Columbia Railway C44-9WL that I showed in my last blog video. And as you can see, I have made no progress on it. The reason why is because the cab from Coslow has not come in yet. I ordered it about a month ago, and apparently the first one got lost in the mail. So Coslow is shipping me another one, so hopefully that one will come in next month. It's a little disappointing, but until that cab comes in, I really can't do much more on this unit. So it's just sitting here collecting dust. But hopefully when the new cab comes in, I will be able to get this thing put together and get some more work done on it. Once I get the cab installed, I'll still need to install the new anti-climbers, and I'll need to put the handrails on and do a few touch-up jobs around here and add some more parts. And then of course I'll have to swap the frames out to get it on a powered frame, a ready-to-run frame as a matter of fact, with a DCC plug, so that way I can upgrade it easily. Now that we've covered the locomotives, let's move on to the passenger cars that are being worked on right now, starting off with this Walther's sleeping car. This was originally one of my two Truesville Southern cars, but I noticed the other day that the letters were starting to peel on it, so instead of fixing it, I came up with the idea to turn this car into the private car Pacific Sands, as you can see in this photo right here. So I've seen this car a couple of times on Amtrak trains, and I do want to get a more modern version of my excursion train going, which does mean I will have to add private cars. In terms of the Norfolk Southern passenger cars I'm working on, you're looking at one of them right now. This is the New Jersey, and the one behind it is the Iowa. They're pretty much identical, except that the skirting on the right side, as you can see here, has been removed to match that of the New Jersey. These are both ex-Connecticut Department of Transportation cars, originally built for the Chesapeake and Ohio, which now are used on the Norfolk Southern steam excursions. These cars, I haven't done any more work on them since last month. I need to go over them with another coat of paint, and I need to repaint the underbody as well. And of course they need decals, and also I need to replace the couplers on them. I've already gotten rid of the old horn hook couplers, and those will be replaced with body mount knuckle couplers, Katie's. So again, not quite sure when I'm going to get these cars finished, but hopefully I'll get them finished soon. Finally, the last private car that I'm working on for my excursion train is this dome car, which is going to be the Southern Hospitality, which is owned by a group in New Orleans and is painted in the colors of the New Orleans Public Belt Railway. Now, I have not seen this particular car in person, but I have seen several photos of it, and it is kind of nice. This one's an ex-Union Pacific car, I believe. I might be wrong. Now, you might recall that last month I said I was going to take this car and make it a Southern Railway dome car to represent one of the ex-Wabash dome cars that was leased to the Southern from the Norfolk and Western for the steam program. Well, I thought about it for a while, and I had some blue paint, and I decided I really need to focus on modern cars for my excursion train. So there you go, and the Southern Hospitality was born. Now, like the Norfolk Southern cars, I am going to have to add knuckle couplers to this because it does not have body-mounted couplers. But that's a minor thing, and I'll worry about getting that done once I get the car itself finished. I do need to get some more black paint because I ran out, and that way I can finish the top of the roof, which the whole roof of this car is black all the way down, even on the dome, and then the body is blue with like a yellow gold trim. So it's a pretty nice car. So between this, the two NS cars, and the Pacific Sands, I'll have myself a pretty good modern excursion train once I get these cars put together. And there might be one other car that I might turn into one of the private cars that are seen nowadays, but I'm still thinking about it, and I haven't committed to anything yet, so I really can't commit to anything much right now because of money constraints, and I've really got too many projects on the workbench as it is. So this car is in the bays waiting, just waiting its turn just like everything else, but hopefully soon it will be able to be finished up and enter service on the layout along with everything else. One final thing before I let you guys go. You may recall this locomotive from my Streamliner Fest video. This is Nickel Plate Road Alco PA number 190, the one that I was customizing to take with me to Spencer. Well, I did take it to Spencer, and I actually did accomplish my goal in getting a photo of it on the front of the real Nickel Plate 190, which you can see in this photo right here. So I'm really glad that I was able to get to do that, and this was a lot of fun. So the 190 has made it home, and it's sitting here on the workbench, and this is probably where it's going to stay because I've got it here on display next to my Conrail F2, which is one of the first models I ever got when I was a kid. And you know, it'll probably just stay there for nostalgia reasons. You know, I like it. I'm not really sure if I want to run it all the time. So yeah, it's got a nice little display track there, and that's probably going to be its permanent home. So yeah. So there we go, guys. That catches us up to mid-June 2014. So really, not, like I said, not much to show on the layout. Not really too much has been happening, but a lot has been happening over here on the workbench, as you can see. So be on the lookout next month for next month's blog video, and like I said, hopefully I'll have this CNNW-9 renumbered by that time. And I should have the cab for the British Columbia and the Dash 8.5 locomotives in soon. And there you go. Everything's just working as it should be. For right now, anyways. Now I've probably jinxed myself. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully you can't wait for the next blog video. This is Ravenhawk6910 signing off.